This program is presented by University of California Television. Like what you learn? Visit our website or follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with the latest UCTV programs. Also, make sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube original channel, UCTV Prime, available only on YouTube.
UCLA is a university with unlimited possibilities for students that desire world-class academics and research, unmatched diversity, incredible cultural and social opportunities, successful alumni and career networking, first-class campus facilities, plus America's top intercollegiate sports teams. Located in Westwood, just a few miles from the Pacific Ocean, UCLA's 1 square mile campus is surrounded by famous cities such as Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Brentwood, and Santa Monica.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Westwood for another edition of UCLA Bruin Talk. Alongside Allison Taylor, I'm Dave Marcus. We think you're going to love today's show. In just a moment, we're going to talk with the past, the present, and the future of UCLA volleyball.
Before we meet our first guests, let's take a look at the upcoming events.
Last year's UCLA women's volleyball team accomplished something great. They won the national championship. In the tournament, they knocked off 4-time defending champs Penn State, then #1 seed Texas before winning a thriller against Illinois in the final match. A couple of key members of that squad are still only sophomores. They're back again with the Bruins 10-3 on the young season. We're pleased to welcome Zoe Nightingale, middle blocker, and outside hitter Karsta Lowe to UCLA Bruin Talk. Unbelievable last year, but the fact that you guys are sophomores, you've got your volleyball careers basically ahead of you. What an encouraging thing that's got to be, Zoe.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Karsta, this year the team is off to a 10-3 start. You've had some epic battles already. Michael Seeley, your head coach, not overly concerned about the losses at this point, is he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think after every match, last year, I think there was more yelling, and this year, I think that he's very calm after matches, and he says, okay, how can we grow from this? And even if he's fuming inside, he doesn't really show us. So after every match and it lost, we just talk about it as a team, and most of the time we figure out how we're going to go from there and what practice is going to look like after. So I think that's definitely positive for our team.
Zoe, a year ago, talking about growth, you started last year in a subdued role. By the end of the year, you were a key member of the team, and you just got better and better and better. What do you attribute your learning curve, your growth to last season?
Well, obviously the seniors, middle blockers, had some injuries, and that helped me out. But I don't know, coming in as a freshman, it's kind of hard to adjust really quickly, especially as the middle blocker, because there's so much I have to learn. And throughout the season, I started to understand more and gain more confidence. And again, the seniors' injuries really helped me out there.
How long did it take you to learn the chemistry with Rachel Kidder on the outside, Tabby Love? You really got in sync with them. By the time of the Illinois match, you were everywhere.
I want to say
I don't know. It was good at that point, but over the spring, as a team, we got so in sync and everything just connected so much better. So I think we're actually doing better this year.
Karsten, I want to go back to Coach Michael Seeley a little bit. He won the national championship in just his second year here as a head coach. He's clearly proven himself as a top-of-the-line coach. What qualities do you think that he has as a head coach that makes you guys better as a team?
I would say that, like I said, he sometimes is calm during stressful situations, which is definitely helpful when the rest of the team is freaking out. He's kind of like the base when even our captains aren't. Also, I mean, he's an amazing volleyball player, so he knows skills and technique, and he'll work like individually with people on hitting and setting and whatever. So we have a lot of individual work, which I think helps a lot with technique and whatnot. So that definitely helps. And I mean, he's a good guy. He's funny and everyone likes him. So we have a good relationship with him off the court, which definitely helps on the court.
I was going to say, I've watched some of your matches, and even in the most pressure cooker situations, he's just on the bench very calmly looking at his notes, sketching out the next play for you guys while the girls on the sidelines are freaking out. But it's got to make you feel better that he's calm. Like you said, he's a home base.
Right. I mean, that's what he looks like, so we don't really know. Just kidding. But yeah, he definitely is calm. I think everyone knows him, like in the NCAA, is the coach that kind of just sits there.
Stays steady.
Stone face.
Well, we were wondering, watching the final match, what it was going to take to get him to smile. And finally at match point, I think he broke a pretty big grin out.
It was
The fist bump.
Well, let's talk about the calming influence. You know, you've all played a lot of volleyball, but when you look over and your coach is on the bench and he's focused and he's thinking, it's got to give you kind of a calm that helps you go about your business.
Yeah. I mean, we have people like Kelly Reeves on the team to counteract that, so it's a great balance.
Yeah, and I mean, we're making him out to be super calm. He's not always that calm. I mean, sometimes he like puts his clipboard and he's like, oh, you know, in the middle of this. But in a good way, he's, you know, firing us up. But he's both the best ones.
You brought home UCLA's 108th national championship, more than any other university. We talked about the road you had to travel, Zoe, against Penn State, Texas, Illinois. After knocking off Penn State and Texas, you're in the championship match against a team that wasn't as highly regarded. What did it take for your team and for you to focus on getting the job done in that championship match?
Before the semis, at some point in there, Seeley told us that he talked to the Cal coach from the year before because they got to the finals, and he said that they were really like all wrapped up in the like not glamour but like just excitement of it all, and so they just kind of got wrapped up in that and didn't focus on actually having to win, and so we focused really well on winning, and we did.
Karsta, the team has played its home matches in the John Wooden Center the last couple of years. A very intimate, noisy, excited atmosphere. People are lining up for hours to get tickets to come in and see you guys. You're going to be moving back into Pauley Pavilion. You've got an SC match the day after Thanksgiving in Pauley Pavilion. Has there been any talk on the team or excitement about getting back into New Pauley?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we walk by it every day and it's under construction. We're so excited to see what it looks like. So we're definitely excited for that. But I know there's girls on the team, including me, who kind of like John Wooden Center. It's kind of like a high school gym, like you said, very intimate. And I mean, if we have fans, we can hear them, whereas in Pauley, maybe we won't be able to as much. But obviously, we're really excited because it's going to be brand new, and I mean, we get to play in it first, so that's exciting.
You were both freshmen last year during the NCAA championship run to bring home 108 to UCLA. What are you both looking forward to maybe change, make some adjustments this year? Being a sophomore, it's a much different experience. You know, you have the freshmen who are coming in and learning just like you guys did last year, but now you may be able to hand some wisdom down to them.
I think that I don't have that much wisdom to impart on them, but I think that, yeah, it's cool to be able to kind of like show them the ropes a little bit.
Zoe, we talked about the championship match. You had 8 kills, 11 blocks in that match. What enabled you to rise to your greatest performance on the biggest stage?
When we walked in, I was just like I think I told Karsta, I was like, I feel way less nervous for this than I felt walking into like Arizona State at the Wooden Center. Like it was I feel like everyone kind of had that feeling too, that it was just like so calm and like didn't even realize like that it was such a big deal at the time. And obviously I think Sealy had a big effect on that.
As only a sophomore, what kind of skills have you been working on that you believe you can develop further in the next couple of years at UCLA?
Definitely ball control stuff, passing, digging. I'm not playing a ton of back row right now, but I hope to in the future, so that's definitely something I'm working on. Also blocking, my footwork's a little iffy sometimes, so I'm working on that, and I think those are definitely things that I've seen that have gotten better even just this season, so I hope to get better at those in the future as well.
I want to travel back in time a little bit, further back than the national championship. When did both of you know that volleyball was the sport for you? You guys are obviously both very tall young ladies, but when did you know volleyball was really the sport that you wanted to focus on?
Probably in 6th grade when I realized I was terrible at basketball.
Yeah. Well, for me, I played tennis like competitively all the way up to sophomore year in high school, and then my dad really wanted me to keep playing both, but I knew that I couldn't. They're the same season in high school, so I made a choice, and I like volleyball more. It's more, I like the team aspect, and tennis was like you go to tournaments alone and you're with your parents, and it's not as more of like a collective aspect, so I really like that about volleyball.
In your practices, I imagine you face some of the toughest competition you face all year. Tell us what a typical practice is like for the Bruins, especially midway through the season.
So yesterday I told Zoe after practice that yesterday's practice was really fun. We were really into it and fired up, and I think that that's how a lot of our practices are, that each drill, you know, we're like going all out, and I think that that's something that our coaches definitely reiterate every day is like go all out on every single drill, and I think that that really helps for our practice, and it's really fun, so.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard to keep up that intensity in practice throughout the year. I know I was an athlete here myself, and kind of midway through the season, practice may not be as fun. You know, you just want to go out there, you just want to play, and you want to compete. How do you guys make sure that not only yourselves, but your teammates come into practice that fired up every single day?
I think we actually hit that wall a little bit ago for a week or so, and I think that Stein telling us, he like has really come in and fired us up, and he's been like on it lately about getting us fired up at practice.
Well, as we about hit the halfway point of the season, a lot of volleyball ahead of you. We wish you nothing but the best. Thanks for coming in and visiting with us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more Bruin talk right after this brief public service announcement.
A trophy can be made just about anywhere. But there's one place where champions are made. UCLA, champions meet here.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Bruin Talk. It is now time to honor our Student Athlete of the Week. This week, we honor Paul Reynolds of the UCLA men's water polo team as our Athlete of the Week. The number 2 ranked UCLA rebounded against 5th ranked UC Irvine to win the 3rd place match of the SoCal tournament. Paul Reynolds, a sophomore, led the team with 4 goals. UCLA won every period, winning with a final score of 14-8. With the win, the Bruins improved to a 15-2 record. We look forward to seeing more outstanding play from Reynolds in future matches. Congratulations, Paul, and good luck with the rest of this season. If you would like additional information about UCLA athletics, please visit our website at uclabruins.com.
You know, the lifeblood of college athletics is recruiting, and oh, did UCLA recruit a good one this year. Our next guest is the only man ever to win an NCAA championship as a player at UCLA, an assistant coach at UCLA, and a head coach at UC Irvine, where he guided the Anteaters for 10 years. Back on the Westwood campus, the new UCLA men's volleyball coach is John Spera. Coach, welcome back.
Thanks, it's great to be here.
It's got to feel great to be back in Westwood.
It's been fantastic. I had a tough decision when the offers came in, and I was very grateful for that. Had a great experience getting to know Dan Guerrero through the process. He's a good recruiter. Yeah, I have to give him credit. I respect that as a recruiter. He did a great job with me, and I came here and I just have even enjoyed it more than I thought I would. You know, just being back, the energy here. I know a lot of people in the athletic department. Not a lot of people have left. I have more friends than I realized when I came back, and so it's been a blast.
Your predecessor, your former coach Al Skates, was here for 50 years. On the women's side, Andy Banikowski was here for 33 years. Are you concerned about the rapid turnover of volleyball coaches at UCLA?
Not at all. I think a lot of it has to do with how much I respect Mike Seeley, the head women's coach. And that was an attractive aspect of coming back to UCLA. Mike and I had been friends for a long time. We were teammates. I have a great respect for his intellect. I think he's going to be one of the great young coaches in our game. He's got a great mind for it. We talk all the time. We've worked together on USA teams in the past. So this collaborative effort, I think, that we can do for volleyball, not just men's or women's, but for the sport, I think is something that could be great for all of us.
Dave alluded to the fact that you're taking the place of legendary Al Skates, who was your collegiate mentor, your coach when you were here at school. What does it mean to you to be filling his shoes, if you will?
It's a little surreal, to be quite honest. I never really think about it in big pictures that often, but certainly the other day I was driving up the freeway and I was coming to work and I was thinking, I'm head coach at UCLA. Like, there's still part of me that is still that young coach who can't believe I'm in a position, really and arguably, and I think this is true, the best volleyball job in the world. I really believe that. I think it's better than a lot of professional jobs, and certainly it's been just an incredible honor to be here, and I'm just unbelievably grateful. It's still a little bit of a surprise. Yeah.
Anyone who follows volleyball knew early on in your head coaching career that you were a rising star. You started out as an assistant here at UCLA. What gave you the idea? What got you into coaching in the first place?
It's an interesting question. I was actually working on campus at the hospital at UCLA. I majored in genetics when I was here. I was thinking about going to medical school. And so I was working at the hospital. That was how I put myself through school. I didn't have any scholarship dollars when I was here. So I graduated with a class that was remarkable in talent, and I was the least talented member of that group. So I actually didn't have a professional career and didn't have an Olympic opportunity. So I was just working. And Coach Skates, who was really innovative at the time with statistics, and before computers really had an impact on our sport, had a fleet of statisticians that were on the sidelines taking charts. So he asked me to be one of those guys. And I had just graduated, so I was friends with some of the guys that were on the court, Tom Stillwell, Paul Nihipali, and all these guys were my friends. And during timeouts, they'd come over to me, and I felt really good about having some impact on their ability to be successful on the court. That was kind of the spark, actually, for me. And I started coaching club. And in '97, it was my second year of being a volunteer assistant. I went in, I said, Al, I've decided I'm not going to go to medical school. I'd like to coach. And he kind of laughed at me, and he said, I hope you're thinking about coaching women, because there's not very many opportunities on the men's side. And I said, you know, I actually hadn't really considered the gender, but I would like the profession. And so he actually helped get me a job with USA Volleyball the summer of '97 with the World University Games, which is a nice position for a guy with no college coaching experience. So Al got me off to a great start, and that just, I don't know, got me going on a great career. It's been a great ride.
We've been talking about how fantastic it is that you're back. There's a building process and a learning curve with incoming players, along with an incoming coaching staff. You have Andrea Becker, and you have Brad Keller that you brought over from UC Irvine. What do you foresee being some of the challenges that you guys might face this year with a brand new coaching staff? These guys haven't had a new coach for 50 years.
Right. You know, when I went down to UC Irvine, I inherited a much different situation than we had here at UCLA when I left. I had a group of individuals that hadn't made the playoffs. I think they'd made the playoffs once in history, maybe twice. So they didn't really have this great history. And so I had to learn how to train teams differently. I had to learn how to run a program differently. And that's what I wanted. I wanted some sort of form of a different experience. That put me into a direction that has made my coaching style different. And that's one thing I had to know. Even when I was an assistant coach here for Al, I knew I couldn't be Al. I couldn't replicate the 50 years of experience and the way he could see the game. He's incredibly funny. I'll never be that funny. He's Al Skates, and I'm not going to be Al Skates. And over the last 10 years, I've developed my own style and my own training philosophy and my own niche and my own offensive systems. I think, alluding to your question, the big challenge that we have as a staff, you usually have a group of 5 or 6 freshmen that come in that don't know what's going on. Now we've got 20-something guys that it's going to be very different for them. So I think a lot during the day, how much can we introduce? How far can we go this year? And we'll have to see. We'll just have to play it by ear and see how far we can go in terms of implementing what we want to do here.
The inclusion of Dr. Andrea Becker on your staff is a fascinating one. She's a sports psychologist.
Right.
And I'm sure that's a big part of getting your teams to work as a unit. Tell us about the process of getting into these guys' head and getting them to play together.
Yeah, hiring Andrea was an idea I had last year. I've known her for quite some time. It turns out that she got her PhD at the University of Tennessee, where my mom is a professor there. So that's how I met Andrea. My mom was on her PhD dissertation committee, and my mom was, hey, you got to meet this girl. She's a superstar, and her PhD was in the components of great coaching. So she really knows a ton about how to be a great coach, and she's made me better. She adds an element to the staff that's just entirely unique. I read a book this summer called Imagine. It's about the study of creativity, and I think it really highlighted what we kind of stumbled upon by hiring her, and that is that a lot of times when you're trying to solve problems, people in the particular industry can't solve it because they're too in the box. They only see things a certain way. And usually if you want to solve big problems, you have to go outside your area, and that's essentially what we did with Andrea.
You talked about Al Skates, his love of statistics. Volleyball is now a very statistics-driven sport.
Yeah.
But all the statistics in the world doesn't tell you how a team responds down 0-2 in a championship setting.
You know, that's a great point. And I think in my own coaching development, I've recognized a couple things. One is that if you look at the great coaches, and Al Skates is one of them, as they develop over the years, a lot of them, once they figure out their own systems, their own styles, they get statistical. They're trying to really dive into how to make teams great. Really, what are the details of that? I certainly am intrigued by that, but I am not interested in statistics. I'm interested in the practical application of statistics, but I'm not one of these guys that just is dying to learn all these numbers. Okay, so I'm very happy now that computer programs spit them out for me. I know that for myself, and maybe this is the fact that I have a mom that's a psychologist and I grew up open-minded to that discussion, but I think as you look at the top teams, and you certainly have to recruit, and you have to train, and you have to have the right systems and good fundamentals, but once you get there, there's usually 4 or 5 teams at the top that have all those things in a given year. The teams that win, a lot of times, are the ones that have the best mental strength, the best leadership. Some of these I don't know, more abstract concepts that are more challenging to talk about and harder to teach. And so I think for me and myself, I know for me, I'm drifting more that direction, a little less away from the statistics. As I've developed my own system and style and I have a firm grasp of what I want to do there, I'm now more curious about how teams win from an interpersonal dynamic and a mental side. And I think Andrea allows us to study that, and I think I've been pretty engrossed in that for the last number of years.
School just started again for all of the athletes, and season isn't that far away. And especially with the new coaching staff, I'm sure you're already trying to piece together the puzzle and what's going to work and what's not going to work. What have you guys been focusing on? Have practices started? Tell us a little bit about what the guys are doing to start preparing.
Well, the way the NCAA rules work, we don't start full-time practice till October 12th for us. So when you're out of your non-traditional, when you're in your non-traditional segment, which is where we're in right now, you're only allowed to go 1 day a week. Al had a large roster. There's over 30 guys. I think it's better that it's smaller. And I know that's a big shift in philosophy as well. I think young men today need to have a personal relationship with their coach. I grew up in an era, and Dave, maybe you did too, when coaches would yell and scream at you. And having a personal relationship with the coach is probably exactly not what you wanted, you know? And I think now coaches are better. I think we understand how to teach and how to relate, and I think they want that. And I think it's hard to have that personal relationship with 35 guys in the program. So actually we're using these first number of weeks to actually cut down the numbers, which is going to be a tough transition for some guys. And it'll be hard on everybody, but I think at the end of the day, our motive is to make sure that our athletes are getting a better quality experience here, that we understand what motivates them, what they need on a personal level, and hopefully we'll be able to create better teams as a result. So right now, we're just going through an extended tryout, which is a little stressful for everybody. We did lose 5 of 7 seniors last year, and I knew that from competing against them, and my expectations were not that high. I will say, though, that what's going on in the gym is a better level than I anticipated. I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be good, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun. The guys are great. That's the best part about this transition is Al recruited a group of really high-quality individuals. They seem to be great guys. I've really enjoyed interacting with them and working with them and lifting with them and doing all those things that we do, and I think we're going to have a great time this year.
The Bruins compete in the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation, the best volleyball league in the country. Battle-tested by the time you get to tournament time.
Right.
How do you develop a team to get that killer instinct when it is time to put it all on the line?
Well, you have to have a long-range goal. You have to understand that it is a battle, and there's going to be some ups and downs to the season. And the years when I've been able to coach championship teams have not been easy. Those have not been the easy years. So we have to understand that and really embrace the challenge of having such a tough schedule like we do in the MPSF.
Volleyball has a hardcore group of real good fans, but it's been a pretty small group. Now with the Pac-12 network, your team's going to be on TV a lot. How are you going to help use that platform to grow the sport?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know. We're going to have to see. Right now, I'm just trying to cut the team down. I think we are all really excited about the Pac-12. I think the exposure for our sport will be just fantastic, I think, for all of us, and give us a lot of opportunity. I think the one thing, being involved with USA Volleyball, we've talked quite a bit about how to use the opportunities of winning a gold medal in 2008 to grow our sport. And I don't think anybody's come up with a definitive plan of how to do that. Now that we have the Pac-12 and the opportunity to televise, and not just UCLA versus Stanford or SC, but the fact that we're going to have other matches. We're going to be playing Long Beach and other school, Pepperdine and other schools that get to be on TV. It's going to be a great boost for our entire sport, and hopefully it'll have a great impact.
UCLA volleyball moving back into Pauley Pavilion. It's going to be a great season. Coach John Spera, welcome back to UCLA, and thanks for joining us on Bruin Talk.
It's wonderful to be here.
Thank you for joining us. For Allison Taylor and all of our Res TV crew, I'm Dave Marcus saying so long from Westwood. We'll see you next time.